And welcome to Not a Ben's Junk. Yeah, I've wasted, one could argue, this whole weekend. It is now mid-Sunday afternoon as of my shooting this, working on other stuff around here instead of doing a Ben's Junk, which would normally be this week. So I figured, well, actually maybe that's a good thing. It gives me a chance to fix some of this stuff, work on it, explore it a bit, and then I can report to you. So I guess this will be yet another in my line of updates on the open reel video gear. So more famously, I did pick up a CV-2010, which is the whole shebang with the TV built in, and one of the early Sony skip field recorders, CV series consumer video. But not long after, I picked up the shipping was a little more so, equal to the price, main price, a CV-2100. And officially this was just a parts unit, and I'm kind of treating it as such. It's my experimental unit. I've made the decision to keep the TCV on ice until I've had a chance to just learn a little more, explore, have some sort of clue what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is the 2100. It is from, I believe, I think this unit, is from 69. Possibly 68, I don't think any later than 1969 though. So it's got blemishes, it's got scratches, it's got bashes all over the freaking place. And there's parts that I don't know if they got dropped or bashed so hard that the whole frame just bent. But yeah, it's was not in great shape. I've cleaned it up as best as I can. Funnily enough, whoever owned this at some point was militant about lubing, though. So amazingly, I only had to re-lube one or two minor parts of this. I may clean off all the old stuff and just give it a fresh new run at some point. But as it stands, everything is still functioning quite well. At least as far as when if it's a mechanical thing, I can just grab a switch and play with it. I have not actually tested this yet, and that is the number one thing I want to do in this video, but I'll get to that. I'll take my sweet time, as I am known to do. But anyway, there's a cracked, missing feet all over the place. Things have kind of a weird, almost rust-like thing, but not really, because I can kind of scrape it off. And we'll try and take a quick look at the back. I think I'll have to, if you haven't guessed, this is 100% off the cuff. Let me grab my mini shop light here. So I'll discuss it a little more when I finally hook it up, but yeah, we're truly dealing with ancient stuff. It's not even BNC yet. So anyway, I guess let me just give a little more of a rundown on this whole situation. So actually, before I do that, just one more measure of how crappy this thing has gotten. The fabric on the inside of the lid is coming off. This is day number 2 of me trying to re-glue it. We've got hopefully the final round of clamps going on for this. And also this little gray part holds down a spare reel, a take-up reel. But it was there for so long, the thing was full of just rust-like stuff, and it seeped down onto the center of this take-up reel. So I've cleaned it off as best as I can, but it's just not coming off beyond that. And then the rubber in the center was all broken and rotted, so I just put a layer of electrical tape over it. So this is truly a spare, but I have 2 good ones of these. And then I have one where it wasn't supposed to be a take-up reel, but the tape got dumped. So yeah, I'm good on spares, but yeah, I'll keep it with it just to keep things original. So anyway, now let me get to some of the more updatey kind of stuff. So in spurts, I've been talking to Rick over at Obsolete Video, and of course he has his YouTube channel, and he's kind of the king of the pre-Betamax off-air video recording. But he's been very nice, and he's been doing a little work for me. I'll get to that, and he's kind of helping guide me along on getting this stuff operational. But he sent me a bag of parts, rubber parts, everything but belts, so idler tires, that sort of thing, pinch rollers. So one of the big projects with both of my main open reel units, the other being, of course, the 3600, which I will have a separate update with a little later. But yeah, the number one thing has been on both of these machines, replacing the idler tires. Now, he did send me another pinch roller for this too, but this one's actually good. If I hit play on this, they actually do make contact. Real nice and good, immediate, hard contact, unlike the 3600. So, yeah, he sent me that. I finally installed it. I almost immediately lost an E-clip. I didn't know what they were called. I just had a massive brain fart, but I had to pop over to Harbor Freight and just pick up a pack of assorted E-clips, and I hate going to Harbor Freight. Anyway, so that happened. We will test this out soon, but let's keep rolling with this whole update thing. Now, the main reason I contacted Rick in the first place was to build one of these little suckers for me. So I sent him my one and only good EIAJ8 cable, and he had the pin out and all to make a breaker box so I could run this on a more contemporary TV. So we'll be testing that out. I have a nice new piece of gear underneath this cover. New to me, the thing's 30 years old. But yeah, funnily enough, I will not be testing EIAJ8 out on this monitor quite yet. And on a somewhat amusing note, the two CV units I have are, the skip fields, are lacking their original power cords. Thankfully, somebody had the world's lamest, cheapest old household extension cord, but it has to be this very specific kind where it's non-polarized, two-prong on the end, and also two-prong non-polarized. Boy, this camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. Going into the wall, into the socket. So yeah, these things are worth their weight in gold, I guess. I haven't found any at the thrift stores or anything. I find all sorts of normal, so to speak, extension cords, basic ones, but they're all polarized now. They don't have the end piece, so yeah, I guess these things are kind of special now. So anyway, let me take a cut here. I'll hook all this up, and we'll see if this is worth pursuing any farther. I have taken this apart enough to examine belts and such. I didn't notice any messes on the circuit boards, nothing bulging or burst noticeably. You know, we'll only find out if anything is really wrong with it when I try and turn it on and use it. It's been only plugged on and turned on enough to make sure that the reels spin for me. So anyway, enough yakking. Let me take a cut here. We'll hook this up and we will do my first ever test on this Sony CV-2100. Actually, before I start hooking up this former biohazard, I suppose I should unveil this. This was in the works before my computer drama back in April. It's part of why I was also kind of beating my head against the wall with the whole computer situation, because I already had a good amount of money tied up in a PVM, professional video monitor. I'll do a proper Ben's junk on this, but I need more time with this. I just haven't really learned my way around it too well yet. It's just been, only had some basic tests, so yeah, it will happen eventually, but this is the Sony PVM 1343MD, usually made for doctors' offices. It's from 1992, and I should give a shout out here to Steve over at the Retro Tech channel. His whole thing is CRTs, especially old professional grade CRTs. And I should also apologize for putting a run on, he used this monitor on a video fairly recently, which he had sent to me personally well beforehand, where he showed that there is a tuner for these things that you can use, because usually PVMs don't have such things. And I went and I bought one for like 20 bucks, and then he put out the video, and now they're like 100. So yeah, I guess you've heard of the Tecmone effect, right? So it's the Oddity archive effect now, unfortunately. But this is a significant model, because according to Steve at least, it is the last with an EIAJ8 connector. So made it all the way to 1992. Anyway, let me now set everything up. I'll get the tripod going, and we'll see if she lives. All right, we're all set up now, and Rick didn't label the breaker box, so I'm just guessing as to which one is correct. Yeah, I'll have more to say on that. I still have my parents' old Dymo label maker thingies, so once I figure it out, I think I'm just going to make a label or two tiny ones and just stick it on there so I remember which is which. Now, speaking to Rick has been pretty enlightening, and we've come to a conclusion of sorts about my AV-3600, in that most of my 2 boxes of Sony half-inch open reel videotapes probably are EIAJ. So this little post-it note I put on here last year is likely wrong, probably not CV format. So the idea is I was trying not to screw with the alignment on the AV-3600, and I intentionally didn't pull out this whole thing. These are interchangeable enough, I suppose, to discuss, because I figured I would totally screw the alignment if I did such a thing, but it is probably totally screwed anyway, so it'll have to be shipped off to him for an alignment. But again, the going theory is my tapes are mostly, if not entirely, actually EIAJ. This is probably EIAJ. I'm just hoping for audio and maybe some garbly video here, just to make sure everything works. And of course, if I'll have to switch the 2 cables around just to make sure that I have it hooked up right. So anyway, turning this thing on is unique. There's a switch on the back. So I turned on the motor, and the thing to turn on is one of these 2 knobs down here, this top one. So we are running. Everything just starts spinning on you, whether you like it or not. So I'll turn that back off. And I'm not entirely sure if I can run this with it in standby mode. But anyway, let's just see if anything happens. Let's see if it starts smoking or anything. And I should note that when I manually run this, the counter does not work. The counter belt is very, very loose. So also there was kind of this almost cake frosting consistency stuff underneath. I did my best to scrape it off, and it only kind of sort of worked. And then the VU meter, I don't know if that's its proper resting place or if it should be way down at the white. So that might be a problem as well. But again, this is my experimental machine. So let's just pop this into play mode and see if anything happens. Oh, hey, good. So we're spinning. We're a little wobbly. This thing may need re-lubed again. So I'm obviously not getting anything here, so I'll stop it. We'll swap. All right, I swapped the cables. We'll try this again. No. Where's the volume? Well, I am hearing stuff, but it's just popping. Okay, well, it lives, so to speak. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'll try a couple things with it. I'll see if I feel like I should attempt a recording test. I do have a couple of Sony blanks that I have cleaned and lubed and baked, despite them being, new, so to speak, blanks. But yeah, we'll just see where it goes here. But let me play with this remote and then I'll report back. This is interesting. Well, for one, I misthreaded the tape. I forgot this one. The tension is different on the CV and AV units. But I found that I had it wired right the first time, but when I play, you'll hear audio.
You have to have fun when you're doing these, or it's not worth doing them at all.
But the instant I try and plug in video, the whole thing just stops. So I can even just touch it and...
Because I'm going to teach you how to do it. Okay, would you? Go, please. Rich. I know it's Rich Little.
So that's kind of unique. All right, as much as I hate taking this out before it gets serviced, it's the best thing I can think of. It's got the dedicated hardwired EIAJ input to the TV. So let's put this one to bed and see if my box is messed up or if the video output, because I should be at least getting garbage. Oh, hey, we have unintentional VU level. Wouldn't hurt if I turned this on. So no trash. Of course, it wouldn't hurt if I actually turned the machine on. All right, I think everything's good. Okay, let's see if we can at least... Oh, there we go. We got trash. All right. We'll just pull the thingy. Make sure we have noise. Okay, good, good, good. And now let's try it. Yeah, now we got trash. Do we have audio? Now we have no audio. Interesting. So check this out. I figured since I have the TCV out, I would just quick test this. This is the first time I ever tested this. And I was able to get a vague picture, but no audio. I hook up the breaker box again from this same unit. And let me turn the motor back on.
Sometimes the magnet is compartment.
But when I plug it in, nada. So I think I'll probably have talked to Rick again before this video goes out. But yeah, that's interesting, and I hooked it back up to the Sony, the good Sony. So yeah, boy, it's just weird no matter what I do. I can't seem to get audio and video. And yes, I realize this is an EIAJ tape. Audio is the same, so I can still get audio, and I should theoretically get some trash on screen, some scrambled nothingness or some snow or something. So yeah, that is that's a bit disheartening. Anyway, let's finish this video up with me digging out the 3600. I'll give you my latest round of updates on that, and we'll call it a day. Well, in the immortal words of Henry Rollins, I'm a liar. So I am gonna try and do a record test. I changed my mind. So I've got one of my initially still sealed tapes on here, unused. And that stupid VU meter, it's hardly read a thing. Now all of a sudden it's kind of off into the red. This is going to be just like the 3600, isn't it? It's just going to pin itself at some point, and I'm going to miss it, and, well, I'll be dead, won't it? So I got one of my Sinister Cinema VHS tapes going just for something public domain. The Golem. I accidentally called it the Gollum at one point, and everybody jumped down my throat. So anyway, I also forgot to mention this earlier. The only difference, as far as I know, between the CV-2000 and 2100 is a couple of very, very basic editing features. Now, as for recording, this is just monumentally ghetto on my part. Let me grab my work light here. So the only way in is 1/8 inch. So I had to do phono to 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch. It was all I had. I didn't have anything to go direct or any kind of modified cable, so that could be interesting. But I just want to see if this thing can pass video at all. So yeah, it's the best I can think of. Got the breaker box hooked up again. I'll have to unplug the white cable to do audio stuff. Anyway, we'll power this sucker on. Okay, we got the motor. And I don't see a pause button on this. This may very well be just basic. I just hit record and whatever happens, happens, which I don't particularly like. So we got video mode here. The tape is playing. I might add the VHS tape. So we'll just learn together, shall we? Okay, it's record standby. I hear buzzing. Let me unplug the audio here. Which is far easier said than done. Just place it up against the metal. Okay, I hear stuff. Let me turn up the audio just a smidge. I hear things. It's not acknowledging. Oh wait, we got a very, very smeary image. Now, bear in mind, we are not recording. So this is me touching the audio jack with the metal. That is just weird. Okay, so I think it's record, then I just kick over to play. Geez, this just annoys me to no end. Okay. That's the audio level, but it's giving me Luma. That makes no sense. Why would it do that? Stand by. Well, just as I feared, even with the audio level all the way down, it just did not like my feeding that line level into it, even though, again, the audio was turned all the way down. So yeah, well, that's kind of why I chose this one, this particular unit, to experiment on and not the TCV. So anyway, that experiment failed colossally. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm probably going to get yelled at in the comments for it, but oh well. Okay, so let me move on. I'll hook up the AV and I'll give an update on that. All right, one last quick little test. I'm splicing this in after the fact. I've already taken all the lights down and put all my stuff away, so this is just a quick little thing on my phone, but we'll try that breaker box one last time on the uMatic. And my logic being that when I first sent in the EIAJ8 cable, I tested this against the PVM, so I knew the cable was good going in. So anyway, let me just fire this up and we'll see once and for all. Oh, things. Very poor things, but things. Let me get that pesky audio out of there, see if that does anything. Yeah, well, we got color even, but yeah. All right, let me take a cut and swap these out. Okay, I'm picking up where I left off here. I swapped the cables, no dice. We have scrambled video, and if I do the same little game as before, I can just touch the white up against the metal and... So suddenly, magically, I have audio. So I'm gonna get back in touch with Rick here. Something is not right. I think I've done my due diligence on this. I'd have to reach back to my audio stuff, but if memory serves, a VU meter just is DC going through it. So, and a measurement thereof. So it's weird to see that pinned. That's going to annoy me forever. Anyway, let me finish up some other ideas here. So we got the old 3600, AV-3600 back out with my known working tape. Now, I hinted at this earlier, but when I was talking to Rick over at Obsolete Video, I was mentioning to him, well, my own recordings play back correctly, at least, half discernible, but nothing else does. And that gave birth to the theory that, yeah, the alignment is just totally whack on this thing. So hopefully in the next couple of months I can get this shipped off and get that looked at. So anyway, let's get into my known working tape and actually finally get to show the monitor, the new to me monitor, in action. So we'll power this on. And of course, speaking of VU meters, grr. Okay, so all new rubber on this one, new tires, new pinch roller. And I still have to persuade it a little at times to get started, but once it does, it's okay. So we'll see how it does here. And hey, we got a special guest airplane out there. So let me point at the TV, that might be better. Actually, just to show that, yeah, I still have to persuade it just a bit. Yeah. Well, it was working. It was working on Friday. It's Sunday now. Stand by again. Me stupid, me tired, me accidentally plug into input. So now... Oh, there's George Burns. I still have to persuade it a little to start. Even with a new pinch roller. Now this was playing nice just a moment ago. But of course the instant the camera comes on. But you'll notice that it is semi-stable. Okay, we're trying to play here. Come on, there we go. Well, yeah, the instant the camera goes on. Now, this has a stretch of 30 seconds where I lost audio completely when I was doing the initial testing. We are in that right now. So, stand by for audio to come back. Oh, it's always something with this crap, isn't it? New idler tire slipped on me. These two are completely off now, so, and these are the damn clips I was having problems with earlier, so I probably stacked something wrong. Yay, one more thing to fix. Well, I am just on a winning streak with this video. Genius Benny back on Friday night managed to put in this part on, put that on upside down. So yeah, that would kind of explain why they kind of go out of alignment and stuff. But I got it going again, and curse these stupid E-clips. I'm getting better at them, but you can tell this one is kind of dying. I've had this on and off a few times now. Anyway, let me put this back together, and I will hopefully prove that I haven't solved all the ills to this one, not the least of which is alignment, but that it's more discernible. Video is more discernible now than it was ever before. So yeah, stand by again. Well, I wish I could say this is my big redemption moment, but I think I screwed the alignment even worse. So everything is fixed now. Everything's put in properly, but something is just off. I'll show you what I mean here. Wouldn't hurt if I turned the machine on. So now everything is just trash.
You're watching KCTV, Channel 8.
Doesn't matter what setting I use, doesn't matter what I do, it's just... I hit pause and you maybe kinda sorta can make it out. See, everything's tripled there. But yeah, story of my life with this stuff. 1 step forward and 2 steps back. So I guess just in the name of proof that the monitor is not the issue, I brought out the Calibar here just to show that Steve did a good job with it. Of course, the frame rate on my camera is a little off, but yeah, that much does work. So, yeah, I guess I better stop trying to be a repairman, be something that I'm not, and start being the Oddity Archive smartass guy again. So, I'll talk to you again soon.